A young couple in love, enjoying a romantic honeymoon, enjoying the pleasure of each other's company, knowing the sublime happiness of the kiss of love. But the kiss of love is a stranger here, where only evil is good, and the only kiss, the kiss of the vampire.
You know what a vampire is?
Yes, I've heard of vampire bats.
No, not bats. Vampires. Human vampires.
Now we're going to take a look at Kiss of the Vampire, a film with a deep history, a lot of contrast, something that I think is important if you're a Hammer horror fan. It is a must-see. And it represents to me the period when not only was Hammer like climbing the ladder, but it was actually ascending. This is one of the best movies. Technically, there's a couple of glitches, I think, in the story. But if you look at the way the movie's filmed, the music, everything is so top tier. This to me, this represents them at the height of their power. And then probably the last time you see something anywhere near this good would have been with something like their big time near-death movie would be the Devil Rides Out. So this sounds like an important movie, or if overhyped it, I'm not sure. But as we go along, I'm sure there's going to be little things listed out to you that probably you guys didn't know about the movie. What was our first? Was anybody else had anything to say about it?
Well,
I really love this.
Yeah, actually, I was surprised by the movie. It was slightly different than my expectations, but it was a well-written, tight movie that everything kept moving and
True.
There were no
Well,
there were
you know,
not
what's funny
much
is,
slow parts.
yeah, Anthony Hines wrote this under the pen name of John Elder, as he wrote several other Hammer scripts. But anyway, you look at it, this was supposed to have been ideally a direct equal to The Brides of Dracula. But so many things went on during the operation and getting ready for the production. And they lost so much backing, and Universal was playing games with them also. So Dracula kind of fell out of it, and this is what Hines came up with.
Right. Well, they probably wanted Christopher Lee, and that was probably a fight.
No doubt, but this is based on budget and the way things were going with the movie. They wound up what they wound up with, and it's probably not what they wanted. But I think that there's certain things about the movie that you can't argue are some of the best in Hammer. The opening, I know we've discussed openings before, but the opening is one of the greatest vampire openings of any movie that I've ever seen.
I will give you that. It was a great opening.
okay.
What was the first clip?
The first clip is actually the opening that we were discussing. So let's go ahead and get this started.
Chorus angelorum te suscipiet, et cum Lazaro
And
condem pauperia, aeternam habeas requiem.
And in Latin, always gives it a kick. Go ahead.
No, it's just that one thing I really liked about the opening is that it was a subversion. I mean, it did.
And we've seen, yeah.
Yeah, it did a reveal that came out of nowhere, but makes sense.
Well, and in a way, when we get to that, the culmination of the scene to me seems also to be almost like a little sex act. And I'll explain that when we get there. Or maybe pornographic or softcore pornographic would have been a better way of putting it. No nudity was involved.
Benedictus et Dominus Deus Israel, quia visitavit et fecit redemptionem plebis suae, et erexit a cornu salutis nobis, in domo David puris sui, sicut locutus est per os sanctorum, qui e saecula sunt prophetarum eus, salutem ex inimicis nostris, et manu omnium qui oderant nos, ad faciendam misericordiam cum patribus nostris, et memorare testamenti sui sancti.
He's been drinking again.
A very unusual, kind of a Helsing-like figure, if you guys noticed in the movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the first thing we're told about him is he's a drunk.
But he's wearing a nice hat.
Yeah, he's a pretty kept together drunk.
Well, that's where he hides the bottle.
Et omnis qui vivit et credit in me non morietur in aeternum.
My friend saw something I was scared to see.
Kyrie eleison. Christi eleison. Kyrie eleison.
Exactly. You deserve passion, adventure.
I-
Not some
What are we hearing in the background?
It sounds like probably the crows in the
No.
Section
I'm hearing dialogue from a different program.
I don't know. It's not.
It's not me.
everything's off here. I just keep hearing the crows. Listen, shot. Listen, shot. Let's see if we can do some slice with me. Check out this close up. Wow.
And of course, I had to ask, what if the guy's a drunk? Why do you let him near the coffin and hand him the shovel unless they kind of suspected too?
The way I make it is this. I'm not sure, but if that wasn't his daughter, it could have been his daughter.
And that could be too. They never really covered that, and you do find out to go looking for the body later, my dear, my dear. And that was a nice touch too when the vampire girl tries to dig up that
You got
body,
yeah, you look in the coffin and you got this beautiful woman, and she's got
and you realize it's just a
little
trap for the vampire. Right, and it's just a trap for the vampire.
exactly.
Which actually
Vampire collar.
brings up a question that I didn't understand. This is spoiler because it's about an upcoming scene. When the girl slipped outside and started digging up a grave, I wasn't quite sure whose grave we were being shown.
I assumed what it was
Absolutely.
is that after he found out she was a vampire, he knew they would have to come back to dig her up. So he set a trap to catch a vampire.
Okay, well,
Yeah.
that makes sense.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly.
I mean, that's what I assumed. They didn't really make it clear, but that did happen. So it's the only thing that makes any sense. And they tied that end up.
Well, and you know what the other thing is in this movie, every time he comes around, the professor, he could do some kind of intervention, or he could be less of a creep or an asshole. But every time he gets a chance to interact with him, what does he do? He yells at him, he screams at him, he cusses at him, he falls down drunk. So Clifford Evans did not get enough credit for this movie, especially at the end when he put so much work into that spell.
One of the criticisms I had of the film is more of what I wanted to see. And it would have been more interesting to have him on screen more.
Yeah.
Because he was a supporting character, but he was a major supporting character.
But if you recall, every time that they were about ready to have interaction, one way or the other, like the first time they got invited, he said something about it.
Right.
The second time he saw them getting all dressed up and everything else, he told them, be careful, be careful. And they were already all looking at him like he's a drunken idiot. When he came into the movie, he was, like you said, a major character, but he was like the drama. But that's what I
True.
thought.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think that's one of the things that it's like they bring it out that everybody knows what's going on, but nobody's willing to talk about what's going on. And he's like the only one who's willing to pierce that veil some. And so he's a
Too drunk to do
pariah
it.
on multiple levels. I mean, he's got no social skills. You know, he knows his
Exactly.
place is in that village.
Exactly, and obviously he wasn't out. So the first thing you see is the women like
Yeah.
making the nasty little comments about he's been drinking again.
Right.
Yes.
So we already knew exactly what they were thinking about him.
Yeah. So he wasn't scoring with the ladies.
He didn't get none last night.
No, not unless he paid for it.
Yet he was still the only one smart enough and strong enough.
It's something I heard.
But what happens after this is that you focus in on a newly married couple. Car breaks down.
And of course, they're English, so they don't know what's going on.
Yeah. And unfortunately, in this section of the movie, all I could think of was the Rocky Horror Picture Show. But
No, excellent point. Good point.
anyway, so they end up staying at an inn. They get invited to a doctor's mansion.
Ravna.
Actually, he's very well to do, and he knew they were there because they show him spying on them from a window
with the telescope, even.
Right.
Well, that's what people do, don't you know?
Of course. Well, if there's nothing else to do in the village, what can you do? Anyways,
Right.
so the second scene, I did cut it down to shorten it, but this is what happens when the married couple go to Frankenfurter's house.
But before they do that, though, they kind of like the innkeeper and his wife. They have a moment of where the innkeeper is excited for them being married, but his wife can't be excited, and he tries to tell her to forget about. Try to forget for one night.
Right, an intriguing.
Nobody's.
But you know what, though? What's screwed up about that? He has no problem forgetting about it. So what's that say about the innkeeper?
He lives for the moment.
Well, I don't.
He showed
cowardice
a couple of times.
He's a man, so he's gonna be pragmatic. Although some of his pragmatism doesn't display any overwhelming courage here.
So
no, he demonstrates cowardice a couple of times in the movie.
Yes.
You know, when she goes missing and he gets a chance to be an honest witness, he says, "I don't know who she was. What are you talking about? You were alone."
But see, in the beginning though, he has hopes and he's happy for them until the weight of until the shadow reveals itself in his life.
And one other thing, mentioning the professor that we were just discussing, they were about ready to head off to the doctor's house, and he comes up and tells them to be careful, but in a very aggressive, bombastic sort of way, unfortunately. But
like get off my grass kind of a way. Well, as a grumpy old man myself, I know what you meant. Yeah.
And actually, there's the doctor, and I thought that was interesting because, again, they keep the film moving forward. And did anybody else thought that she looked like Debbie Reynolds?
Actually, I see your point. Yeah.
More surprises. Pleasant ones, I hope. You expect
Dr.
the inside
Rapna.
of my
Dun,
house
dun,
to be as
dun.
unattractive as the outside, is that it? Well, if it were, I could not live here. I like only to be surrounded by beautiful things.
I love those
These are
colors.
about 5 inches short to be Chris related.
Satisfy my wish. But there I go. Please excuse my appalling manners. We have so little company here that I sometimes forget how to behave. My name is Rab.
Gerald Harcourt. And my wife, Marianne.
Welcome to my house.
It was very kind of you to invite us.
And it's intriguing because you can say the doctor is playing this part like Dracula, like a Christopher Lee.
I think he was told to do it that way, but
right.
Head of the vampire
cult in this area.
Interesting side note. Gerald Harcourt, the oblivious English tourist right there, played by Edward D'Souza, who is still with us.
Oh.
Was he 92 or 93, something like that?
And something else about this, I'll point out too. The background, this castle, they use it a lot in Hammer films.
Yeah.
And I love those pillars and a candelabra. You see a lot. They use it over and over again.
Yeah.
They do leave an impression.
Oh, that was beautiful.
Thank you, madame.
And now, may I introduce my children to you? My daughter, Sabina.
That station where he gets in between her and her husband.
This is like step 2 in their seduction.
And of course, they introduce alcohol.
Right. The devil's
Yeah.
brew, baby.
So maybe she's just lonely.
Okay.
I have
You know, I never
enthusiasm
thought,
myself.
when we were talking about it, that,
Yeah.
this is a fresh grave. And I just kind of like, that skipped over me. So,
Right. Just want to know why she hasn't come out of it yet.
aha.
So you know what we know about him so far. Like you could just see him like he's a drunk rapist. Now we know.
With a nice hat.
Oh.
He's kind of dressed like Coffin Joe. I just noticed. Yeah.
Open, Joe. I have all those in my house, by the way.
Did you include his medical treatment here?
I don't think I did.
Okay.
Because I didn't
So the reason-
want to show everything,
No, I'm with you about that. The reason I pointed out though is because of course we saw in Pride
Right.
Dracula how Peter Cushing cured himself from a bite, and
Yeah.
then in the next film from Hammer, they do the exact same thing.
Well,
Not
it's a nice.
not as badass as Peter Cushing though.
Well, that's true. He wasn't. Although it was still nicely done.
But in this one, he also takes a slug of the elixir afterward.
Yeah.
After he douses his hand, then he takes a slug of it.
I bet
And
it's
then,
crazier.
then he lights his hand on fire.
And you know that he took the slug of it to show you it wasn't holy water. He was just cleansing the wound. So I found that funny. But yeah, I tell you what, I gotta say too on this level. The male vampires that are strong. You would think the female vampires would have got a kick up in strength, but obviously he had no trouble overpowering her, even though she's a vampire.
But that's something that I found in this movie because it's like the male vampires aren't really because
they're
they
not as
actually have the
badass.
henchmen doing most of the heavy lifting,
That's true.
and
And
the
even
one
so-
main henchman is like doing most of their stuff for them.
Yeah, like
Right.
he's the main guy.
And he even gets the professor even tells him, get rid of him. They can't do anything without him. And I'm thinking, what? Christopher Lee didn't need that.
Oh, that's a different kind of vampire.
In
This
most
guy is
vampire
Dracula.
movies, you get a shooting power that makes you stronger, but never follows with the women.
Well, I mean, but that's in this also got in line that they played with the canon
Yeah, it kind
time
of
to
did.
time to suit their needs.
I get some on his kick because my husband and I was watching Dracula's Daughter the other night.
That's an excellent movie, I thought.
It is, but they make her physically very weak in there. The only thing she's got is hypnosis and eternal youth. I mean, really, she's got no other power.
Well, maybe
Well, she wasn't actually for the horror aspect of it. To me, that was a tragic film.
It was, and like I said, it's a great film because she doesn't want to be who she is, but she has no ability on her own, and you never really show her overpowering a man. I know you would have trouble doing that in the 30s, but it's just the 60s.
Well, they could be like using the mold of like Carmilla for the female vampires.
I get that, but Camilla does overpower me.
Well, true. But anyway,
Maybe-
go ahead.
Maybe
Oh.
it was a take on that, because that it was because vampires seem to be a more seductive creature, a more seductive monster than Frankenstein or the werewolf.
Well,
And
you
maybe they
could-
were playing on social tropes. I'm just saying, I'm just theorizing. I mean, and not to mention nobody wants to see a woman beat up a man.
I get that. That's what I'm saying. They don't want to see a woman overpower a man, and I get the seduction part of it. Except that I guess the reason why I like Christopher Lee's Dracula better than others is that he follows the book. Dracula, it's not seduction. You don't want the guy to touch you. You just can't stop him because he's so overpowering and bestial that you can't you
Yeah,
can't.
it's more brutality than it is sexuality.
Absolutely. There's a part, all the men around him, nobody can stop him when he's in his when it's nighttime and he's on on a roll.
He has a chubby.
Well,
When he's hitting his rhythm, I guess.
Looking for his mojo.
All the pistons are firing. Confidence is high. Things are gonna happen.
And we're in fourth gear, baby.
Anyway.
Oh, my lady.
Besides hinting at an interest in the girl and the guy and the husband being quite oblivious to what's going on.
Especially since, by the way, that scene and before and after that scene, the doctor, the head of the cult, starts ignoring the guy anyway to move around to talk to people. And if you ever notice, he is ignoring the guy, and it's like he hasn't picked up on it. How do you not pick up on the fact, hey, this guy keeps
the drugging started early though. Remember, it just took him a while to fall out.
What's the next scene you got up? Is that the party scene?
Yeah, the next scene is the party scene, and I did cut it down a little bit too. But this shows, the machination. And
I mean, it's like they intentionally separate them, where the father takes the new wife, while the daughter is
and it's all of it is a masterpiece of deception too. The way they change masks and like they're disguising their activity and everything.
But I will say this: he was in a strange house and he was putting some drinks down.
Yes.
Maybe not the best plan.
That's right. He was displaying his wealth side, I guess. Anyway, so of course, here's the next scene, and they invite the married couple to a party. They go to the party, and shenanigans ensue.
Something of your own, perhaps, Carl?
Oh no! I'm sorry. I take that
this
back.
Is the second that where she becomes hypnotized by the
exactly.
Yeah, this is the follow up to the last scene, and this is an interesting way to show like the hypnosis / seduction.
By the way, he's getting pushed out and not seeing it.
Yeah. The husband's far, far away.
Right.
Okay, so she's kind of virginal, but we already know that she had sex with her husband because they implied it heavily.
Yes.
Not only that, but she's really not that pure of a person.
Like a bat out of hell, I'll be gone by the morning light.
Thank you.
She gets a little.
No clue that there might be danger.
You have a singularly lovely wife, Mr. Hart. Thank you.
That would be a red flag to me.
Sting, you're looking lovely.
Yeah, it's like, here, have some brandy. Let's talk about your wife.
Exactly. As the eyeballs are.
Oh, there he did. Yeah, he didn't.
Okay, and actually, I'm sorry. Yes, this is the scene where he purifies himself after the bite.
I thought that was holy water, but.
Yeah, you think it's holy water, but.
But then you realize it's not when.
Well, maybe to him it's holy water.
Well, that's true. In Ireland, it's all the same.
And like I said, I think it's sacred. For sure.
Bobby, can you pass my bottle of bourbon?
But he might be a drunk, but he's willing to burn himself. I mean, it shows a certain amount of will.
Plus, it demonstrates that he's not afraid of the pain, even though he does drink.
Uh-oh, it's green.
That's their second one.
Right, she gets a green drink in a small cup. He gets one where he gets in the snifter.
Yeah.
Why this scene after that last one? We were talking about how tight everything was. The way they're intercutting things with the doctor and then this creep.
And maybe to show you what extremes you have to go through to fight the evil.
They're completely different people. I don't know if this is romantic music or if he's trying to get her to jump off a cliff.
Well, actually, you could say it's overpowering music. And maybe the husband should have been played by Hugh Laurie.
Yeah.
This would have been quite a while ago. Susie Drake. Just where we know the virginal Hammer lady right there, Jennifer Daniels.
Yeah.
She was actually somewhat famous, played a lot of television shows.
Well,
she was actually played in The Reptile, which was one movie I hope we're going to get to see someday.
well, most of these guys had other Hammer films, and
Yeah, exactly. They were like of a talent pool.
I think.
Right.
and a lot of BBC stuff.
Sabina, will you ring for the carriage?
Yes, Father.
So they've already got the Seduction halfway finished.
You will play for me.
Well, they got it going in the motions.
I'd be a little uncomfortable with my wife approaching somebody like that.
Well, we need petrol.
She's all be very, oh, please. Can I feel it?
But that's 30 miles away, and across the mountains, too. You wear off your
Maybe that's like Victorian manners. I don't know.
It could be, but I'm still thinking of the Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Exactly. They're innocent, like Brad and Janet. They go into the middle of nowhere and are faced with horrific evil. Brad
Okay.
and Janet from Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Yes.
Damn it, Janet. I love you.
Well, I'd say, since you mentioned it, this was well before that. I imagine that O'Brien probably had some kind of inspiration from this movie. You'd almost think.
Well, you almost think that you've got the supposedly sexy, although he isn't, vampire with his disciples who weren't dancing earlier in Mass. So you do wonder if he was watching this film when he.
And
Yeah, let's get a time up
something
again.
ticked.
Although this is the couple getting lost into a house is what this point in time
Well,
was
this,
a well-known trope.
yeah. Well, this is
Yeah, by now.
the finale, so we need to backtrack on what happened before this scene. And the next scene,
Well, after they leave the first dinner, they're invited to come back for a party.
And
the
that's
next
where
night.
and that's where all this terrific chicanery takes place.
And the husband and wife get separated to where the husband gets drugged or just drunk and drugged, but the count is able to steal the wife away to go through the next steps of the seduction. All right, so and the guy wakes up, the husband wakes up the next morning, and they accuse him of being a drunkard and tell him to get out of the house and tell him he didn't have a wife.
I'm going to say something. I thought that wasn't well done because there's no way that they were going to convince him his wife wasn't there. And if he's a rich enough Englishman to be driving through the countryside in a car, then they should have realized he should be able to get.
Actually, if you notice, there's a little change where they say the car is actually her father's, and he lent it to them.
Exactly, but that still though shows you that he's got connection.
At least his father-in-law has a car.
Got connections, and they should have just killed the guy and get rid of him because he has connections.
No, don't you realize though they wanted him as part of the cult? That hasn't happened yet. Remember
See,
when
I
they got
don't
him-
know that. I think they wanted him gone.
Well, I think that would have been a bonus to them.
They could have. They had him there drunk. They had him there drunk. They could have done anything they wanted to him.
He wanted his daughter to initiate him.
Okay, why
Yeah.
They had all these other designs, and they pulled them off. Then they pulled that one off too. The only thing they did was wigs.
But I think the primary goal was the wife, because I don't know.
for
I
sure.
got the impression that the head vampire did turn her into a vampire, but it seems like all of the seduction really was coming from the vampire, the son of the vampire. But like almost like, okay, we're gonna set her up as your consort.
See, I don't, because I don't think they were going to try to bring the guy back in. I thought they were going to seduce the guy too until that scene where they chased him out because they really didn't want him to come back.
But see, when he says initiate him, he has his hands tied behind his back, and then he slips his hand from the tie, from the knot, to make his escape, and they all kind of stood there and say, "Hey, what are you doing?" While he runs out of the room.
He did draw a cross on his chest with blood before.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Yes.
I forgot about that.
But
I'll know that vampires can't tie knots.
yeah, they never learn. But after the party, and they tell the guy, "Get out, you're a drunken buffoon, and your wife, you've never had a wife, or your wife isn't here." Blah 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 blah.
But it goes to show you that he goes back to town, and the townies are following through with that lie.
Exactly. The cops are all about, we can't do anything.
The innkeeper, everybody's following suit.
The only guy that he can get to believe him is the drunk.
The professor.
The professor.
Of course, she's there. She's being kept at the chateau, and then all of a sudden he's relieved because he thought he for a second he thought he was going nuts. So the drunk showed up again at a critical point. Wonder if that means we should all drink. I'm just thinking.
Well,
anyway.
Chases us away from vampires. Yeah, and everybody in here apparently was drinking brandy, except for the green stuff. I'm not sure what the green stuff was.
Maybe it was supposed to be absinthe or something.
What is that? It's clean. Yeah. Green cherry. Yeah.
Could be.
So, what scene did you pick?
After all of that, I mean, I just decided to show the finale because, I mean, thing is about this film, because of the scenes are so tight and it's so well written, that it is kind of hard to pick out like a single scene in many ways. Like the first and the second scenes were actually very close together. And this is this
the finale?
Yeah, this is the finale. This is after they get the wife out of the doctor's house. And
right.
They realize they're not in the best position right now.
Because this day is a specific holiday for evil.
And I thought this was interesting too, because it was interesting, but it was frustrating at the same time. When you watch it, you see, and this is cut down too, but you see the doctor is well versed because of his research into the occult on the ceremony he has to perform to create evil destroying itself, or however he termed it.
Yeah, that's exactly. Yes. Using evil against evil, exactly.
Doctor has a backstory that they go over, that he lost his daughter to them, but they didn't really go too far into it. So, I mean, the guy has been just his just the will to just exist and destroy this thing is all that's keeping him going.
He said he's been planning he was planning this for months.
So this is where the vampire cult meets, and he explains what they have to do, and it proceeds to the end of the movie. So.
Okay. Is this where he tells them they're all in trouble? Yeah.
Yeah, you're off.
Yeah, because they can't get out because they made a bark of the cross on the front door.
With the gargoyle.
Why are we in any danger? Many things.
Yes, you are. They are trying to destroy us.
You must save us!
Trust me!
What you're going to do?
Not very well disciplined vampires.
I came here tonight to take the girl away because they did not want to risk her life while they were trying to destroy us. She was our protection then.
Ba-ba.
She must come back and protect us again.
He's just a little game piece to him.
I start by drawing a simple circle, inside which I shall inscribe the great pentacle of Solomon.
Now, see, had this guy been Christopher Lee, he would have just started smacking all the
other vampires.
Acolytes into submission.
Connect like a man.
Protect us during the ceremony.
During the war, that's not what we would have done, pussy boys.
So, bit by bit, they're putting everything together for this invocation.
Yeah, and actually, I kind of like that detail where he's like, I can't complete the circle, I left this opening so I could enter it.
Yeah.
First incantation. Bug.
Okay, and this is after he reads the incantation.
Yeah, he's proceeding with the ceremony.
Zaki Abati
You
Kaila,
just can't
I
stay away
pray
from that
thee,
vampire stuff.
without hurt done to my person or my companion.
Like I said, I cut this down too.
So while they're initiating the invocation, the vampire's made his call. He's called the wife back.
Right.
Right.
And it
And they were
seems
trying to
like
get
this,
a excuse to find her.
like the brother had a feeling about, or the husband had a feeling about this.
But they were expecting the priest anyway, because she's not fully initiated yet, so they can still bring her back. Apparently, but they didn't tell you that.
I think I read something in the internet about how they were going to try to catch her and put her back in her chastity belt.
Corpus Diabolo Levitum.
With a
Which
cross
is
on
really
it.
the important point of this movie.
Corpus Diabolo Levitum.
Corruption and innocence.
I conjure thee, in the name of the great god Alpha, in the name of the mighty Beelzebub.
And apparently fighting fire with fire.
And I love this, where they pan through the room. Oh, I love that. That's incredible.
Okay, I agree with you about that. But then what they ultimately call up is pretty disappointing. Or is it?
It's 1962.
That's true.
And I still love those pillows.
With rubber bats, though, that just bugs me. Guess they're down his vampire groupie wife.
What is it? What could it be?
Jesus is back in town. I understand there were limits on this and everything, but it just does take away from another otherwise excellent movie.
Right.
Although it was kind of funny how, some of them get piled up on, and I think like the son takes one square in the face.
A bit of teabagging going on. Like he didn't suspect it earlier.
Right at this moment, I got to thinking about, remember when they brought her out, when he broke back into the house, they brought her out, and they were talking about how they introduced her to unbelievable pleasures, so she'll never go back.
Right.
I think after they told me that, I'm thinking, okay, she's all yours. I'm sorry. Okay.
It's a good build-up.
Yes.
I would have liked this movie a lot. It's an important piece of history. It's interesting to read some of the things that went on between Hammer and Universal just to get this movie made. And when you think about it in the canon of Hammer, it's certainly not the normal kind of Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing thing, but it's very entertaining and it's clearly worth watching.
Well, I get it. You got to do what you got to do because you just can't depend on Christopher Lee to keep showing up every 2 years to make a movie.
But is it possible that because they didn't have the star power, they kind of switched to, well, we got to write something a little bit better, or tighten it up some and make it flow a little bit more?
Well, probably
Just saying.
that too, but if you read a lot of the stories, like Tim said, after Dracula, the first Dracula with Christopher Lee got so big that MGM, then later Universal, none of them wanted to bankroll anything that didn't have one of the two big stars in it.
Right.
So it's always been a game back and forth where we won't show it in the States unless you have one of these guys in it, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah, distributors were doing that stuff a lot.
That's why they don't have as much money to do in the budget, so they got to do what they got to do.
Well, did The Brides of Dracula become a surprise hit?
I believe it was successful.
But not as a surprise hit because nothing did as well as the first Dracula.
Yeah, I'm just like obviously trying to understand the background about a direct sequel, which is kind of rare for Hammer. I mean, not unheard of, but things you don't normally expect to see.
The whole point, though, is this could be argued, which is really a direct sequel. It's in the same mindset. The cult of Dracula. If you do a cult of Dracula, you can put that cult any place in the world. But can you really call it a direct sequel? They don't mention Dracula. And stop me if I'm wrong. Did you see any cars in The Brides of Dracula?
No, just carriages.
So they make it a point to start this off with the cars so you can put a time on this thing about 1905, 1910.
I thought it was also because that way it was like once they got stuck there and they didn't have any modern conveniences, they basically stepped back in time too.
I agree. I thought that was a great thing too. They were superior because they were superior because they had that modern English technology, but in the long run, they lose to old-fashioned superstitions. So I agree with you on that one. That was probably that, but like I said, I don't think they called it a direct. They were just trying to figure out a way to keep the vampire movies going without Christopher Lee. So they had to bring him back. So The Brides of Dracula probably did okay. But yeah, remember, at least The Brides of Dracula had Peter Cushing. This one had no big stars. And most of these guys here survived and did a lot of TV and B-film work, if you take a look at their IMDb. But none of them really ever get international stardom, yeah. I mean, they died working actors. So it's not like it hurt them. It just didn't help anybody. So yeah, I kind of like the film too. It's kind of softball, but consider some of the stuff I watched, it's actually not a bad movie.
Yeah, and I guess there's simplicity in like the actual relationships between themes like you got good versus evil, you got innocence being seduced, you got evil destroying itself. Just all the things you'd expect in some kind of like gothic horror convention movie. Really loved it.
So what did you think of the film?
Although I could see the professor played by Sean Connery.
Yeah, but not.
Yeah, but then he would have had to slap somebody.
So strangely enough, several of these actors, yeah, he would have had to. Got more of a Scottish accent. Several of these actors did do some minor roles in Bond films too. But
I'd say, yeah, it's a watch. Don't set the goalpost too high, but it's a watch. It's a good watch.
Hammer.
Yeah, I mean, it's an enjoyable Hammer film, worth checking out. And actually, I could watch it again. Seriously.
Yes, and the other thing is, this was still when they were classy and there was still no nudity. Everything was just suggested. They've had that bit of class too, I guess.
Yeah, well, they wanted the force of character and the force of movie making carry it.
Well, it's not just that. If you read anything about the early days with the early Draculas and stuff and Frankensteins, the British censors were all over Hammer, telling them they can't do stuff. Why? I think the blood's red and it looks fake. And they always kept that fake blood because they probably had to, because you can't have realistic gore either in films at the time. So did they keep it classy because they wanted to, or did they keep it classy because they had to?
Well, they still learned to work around in the limitations. I mean, like it would have been easy to make a crap film with that, the excuse of limitation.
No, I get that. I totally get that, and they did do what they had to, and that's why the production values were actually so much better in the early Hammer films when they had to watch that kind of stuff. Because I don't remember, like I said, I mentioned that the castle there that you see in a lot of the early Hammer films. I mean, it was in the Gorgon, and it was in the original Dracula. There's pillars, but you don't see it showing up in later Hammer. So they did it. They kept their stuff. They knew to keep it clean. They knew to keep it looking good, and it always helped with the production values, and it kept the cost down. So
it worked.
It worked.
Will you please get me something to fucking drink?